Hi everyone, this is Cameron Maynard. For my week 2 video journal, I will be discussing chapter 1, which is titled Perspectives on Emotion in the Digital Age. I thought it was a very interesting chapter to read and very insightful. It started out by talking about what exactly emotion was before delving into the four major traditions of emotion, which are the basic emotion tradition, the dimensional tradition, the appraisal tradition, and the psychological constructivist tradition. Then I read about if emotion in digital spaces has changed and the approach we might take moving forward in terms of that. My last class really opened my eyes to things I had never thought about as a journalist, and reading this chapter did that as well. Chapter 1 of this textbook states that according to appraisal based perspectives, it is not inherent situational features per se that determine emotion elicitation, but rather how a person perceives the situation and construes it in light of their own needs and goals. I feel like this could definitely impact my work. And I experienced this quite a bit in my career, honestly, as a journalist. No matter whether I'm at basketball games, softball games, baseball games, football games. As a sports writer, I encounter that quite a bit, and I'm going to give you an instance or an example of that right now. When I go to sporting events and take photos, sometimes I'll get a head start on the story I'll write later and put my photos into this thing called Blocks, which is the software we use to write stories and incorporate photos. And while the game, I'll do that while the game is going on. And for instance, if I'm at a baseball game and I think it's getting ready to end, and I put my laptop in my backpack and get ready to go home, but the game takes a wicked turn and goes to extra innings, like there's a game tying home run or something like that, then maybe I'll get my laptop back out and at least begin typing my story and put the scoring plays of the game in there and whatnot, just so I can get a head start on it because I have deadlines I have to hit for the company I work for and things like that. That is me simply perceiving the situation and construing it in light of my own goal to get a head start on my story, just like the textbook says. Maybe if I study up more on this concept and become more knowledgeable about emotion, it will give me more guidance and insight in future situations at events I cover. As far as emotion in digital spaces, let me just point out what I see almost every day on X, which obviously used to be called Twitter. Sometimes people will post opinions on there, and other individuals will be easily triggered and post offensive, hateful, and hurtful comments to said person. I don't think that's going away anytime soon. Facebook is the same way, as is apps like Instagram, Bleacher Report, and apps of that nature. I think that is a common thing that happens on all those social media apps. And I mean, as time goes on, I just think it's going to get worse, to be honest with you. But I mean, aside from that, the appraisal tradition thing that I discussed. I mean, that could really help me in my career if I become more knowledgeable on that. And I mean, again, it's just more thing. Reading this chapter, just like my last class, it really just kind of opened my eyes to things that I didn't know about and had never thought about in journalism. And I'm really interested to read more material in this class and more chapters of this textbook and other textbooks in this class because I think it's just going to arm me with more knowledge of the journalism profession and how to be a good journalist.